Personnel Litigation Act. Moving on, additions to the agenda.
I have a couple actually.
Okay.
First of all, Tammy and I went to CDL drug and alcohol testing class in Somerset. It was very, very informative.
It was a very good class.
Very good class. There's a lot of things. It's something that we have to participate in.
We are federally mandated.
Federally mandated, and right now, our programs seem to have dissolved over time, and we don't do it. The guy was very good, Jeff. And he said, basically, the first motion I would like to make is that we join the PSATS program. It costs like $120 a year.
It's $150.
$150? It's $150 a year. And by joining this program, they will do the random testing on the employees.
Does that pay for the cost of testing as well?
No, it does
No,
not
it does
pay,
not.
does not pay for the
Just
testing.
administration.
Just the
They-
administration.
yes.
But what it does for us, Doug, is it leaves it up to them. Because if you leave it up to the board or somebody on the board, then it may look like you're targeting a specific individual.
I understand.
And that way, it takes us clear of it. They send us a notice and say, send employee X on this date, and we're out of it.
Right, they
And
pull
we,
it,
and they
they
get
pull it
paid,
together.
they get paid for whenever they go, you know what I mean?
And they get all the reporting,
They get all the
and
reporting
they,
and
yeah.
it comes back to
I'm
us.
not opposed to that, I don't know about the pricing of it, but, you know, you belong to the pool is a good idea. You know,
I really don't
Well,
want,
then make a motion, and we'll.
Yeah,
Do we have any idea?
we have a sample one.
Yeah, so they provide
look at it.
everything. Like, he has there's, I'm not sure if I can find it at this
Do we
second.
have any idea what the townships around us do?
Most of them use.
Most of them use the PSACs.
Just because
It was
they do all the
it was a very
recording.
large class. It was amazing. And so the class, what you're looking for, I'll explain a little more. The class, basically, you have to have at least one, they recommend all the supervisors be educated in it. So basically, really, when it comes up again,
They want all
you
of
and
it.
Kathy and Doug at some point, you know, should inquire about doing it, because it teaches you what to look for in the employee. Like, and what it does is, like, say, somebody comes into work and you just happen to be there, okay? Like, even Steve would be a good thing. You know, he shows up on a job site in the morning, an employee comes in, before they clock in,
It's,
and that's another issue, they recommend a clock, because
we have to
the
keep.
clock
hours.
means on duty. So if, say you saw somebody come in and you thought, you could say, hey, Joe, you look like you're not with it today, is everything okay? And if he says, well, you know, I was out late last night, and you just say, you need to go home, and we'll take you home.
Beer math.
It's called beer, they call it beer math. I mean, that's literally what they call it. And it's to avoid an issue with the employee. If he insists on clocking in, by the requirements, they have testing strips. And they look like pregnancy tests. You ask them to put it in their mouth, and if a line comes up on it,
That's not what you do with the pregnancy.
well,
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
well, good point. But
What's the end of the program, Mike?
Wonder how you do that.
What is it?
What's the end of the program?
It is, right here, it's the federally mandated probable cause training for CDL.
I understand the training, but what's the name of the program that costs $150?
The PSATs.
Oh, let me, CDL,
I'm gonna move that we join that, because it, you know.
For $150
It's not a lot of
a
money,
year.
and it's a program that, at one point in time, we did have a drug and alcohol testing program in the township, I don't know when it.
yeah, I mean, it was really good, and it, like I said, it takes a lot off of us, and as far
And
as,
I understand what you're telling me, but I somewhat disagree. If a guy shows up and appears to be intoxicated, I don't think I'm gonna send him home. I think he needs to go through the disciplinary process at that point.
Yeah,
It's not-
I mean, it was random tests,
Yeah.
so you.
The random test may be, I'm not talking about if the guy that shows
But
up
this-
appears to be drunk, is what I'm saying.
They say try to litigate it before it becomes a problem. That was just their opinion.
Okay, well.
You can and then he said, you can either do that, or you just let them clock in, and then you give them a test strip, and as
Well-
long as that line shows up on the test strip,
Then you're,
and if they refuse the test strip, it's an automatic dismissal.
you know, it may seem like a far-fetched thing, but it has happened in this township before.
I understand that.
And
This
it's-
township,
I-
it's a dry township.
it's a dry township, and they vote dry and drink wet.
it is
But
it is.
I move that we join that at a cost of $150.
It is the CDL Drug and Alcohol Testing Program.
Okay, let's shorten that to an hour.
All right.
Got a motion to join for $150.
Didn't you already make the motion, Mike? I think you
No,
made
he
the
said he
motion.
would. He
Yeah.
didn't do it. He said he would do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, do we have a second?
I second the motion.
All right,
It is $150 for all employers with annual membership thereafter.
doesn't matter how many employees you have, right?
No, thereafter just $100.
What you do is you give them a list. Okay, so once we join, then you give them a list of the employees. And then they put them on a rotating basis. And he said at least one a quarter. So
Yeah.
in a
Did it
3
say
month.
it goes down to $100
Right?
after?
Right, and the drug tests are currently $60, so,
Oh, they,
Normal.
no, they'll send us a bill for that drug, you know what I mean, but they'll say.
okay. So the 150 is only the first year, then it drops to 100. They handle everything, send us a report. Do they have doctors in our area?
Yes.
They tell us where they're
Good
gonna
old
go.
CDATP.
Yeah.
All right, got a motion and a second. Anybody else? Questions? Yeah.
Ed Crashar, is it only for CDL, or is it for all employees?
We can ask them to do all, you know what I mean, but this is their.
The class they went to was just CDL,
The class we went to,
Yes.
and the federal mandate is only for CDL.
but they have an ordinance that, then we can adopt it for all employees.
I think that's something we can look at.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
most
we agree,
definitely.
yeah.
We agree.
You know, but we definitely know that the CDL drivers have to go through, you know what I mean? But they said that we can adopt an ordinance to have
I
a
think
drug.
you need to treat all employees the
I
same.
agree,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we can, you know,
You're
so.
100% correct.
So we
And
can-
actually, I thought, and I would have to go back and look, I think there was a thing that we could include the other employees
It's the
in
same pool.
the
Yes,
same pool.
I just have to get.
But I don't know I don't remember if there was an additional cost, so that would,
Okay.
but it could,
You have a sample ordinance?
Well, yeah, it's in one of these packets.
They gave us so much.
Together. I'll email everybody. Well, wait a minute, I just saw something. Well, that's the driving
There.
limits.
that's
No,
what-
that's something else. We have to do that.
You can get that piece of ordinance online.
You can,
They
I
have
just,
them all on it.
I'll call him tomorrow and get exactly everything that goes with this and how to get all the employees.
You could have that proposed ordinance for the next meeting?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a motion and a second.
Question.
Yes.
My name is Jack Dior. This test, what will it show positive for?
Anything.
Anything in that,
If you have a beer the night before, is it gonna show positive?
No.
it depends, okay, so
He said, the beer math says
we can,
that it takes an hour for every .1, so it would take 2 hours for it to go away. So if you had a beer at midnight, it would be gone by 2 AM. It does not, the test they do has nothing, it's what he explained it, your liver processes the alcohol.
you can.
It has nothing to do with taking a breath mint, I mean, that's all a fallacy. It's what your liver processes. So every drink basically is between .1 and .2 of beer. So all you need to do is be an hour without, and it should be processed out of your
I
system.
think you're confusing the two things, though. What you're talking about getting done here is
It's-
drug testing.
Drug and alcohol. It is for alcohol.
It does, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It
does
goes
both,
all the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what it is
they can, when you send them to the test, they do both.
they do
The
both.
random
Yeah, but
test.
they would have had to have been drinking that day, or that
Yeah.
morning, or whatever, you know what I mean? It's not,
Technically, I
Yeah.
can't, for my size and weight, if I had one beer, I am legally drunk as a CDL driver.
no, you're bragging about how
I
skinny you are or
No,
something.
I meant, but it's, because it's .02.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
the other thing,
Listerine.
right, but the other thing is, if they can produce, say they were on a prescription with a cough medicine or something
Yeah.
that they were taking, but you can still send them home for that, and and basically, you have to send them home for that. If they're, that
It's
point
a
two,
24-hour
the point,
off,
it's a 24-hour off, is what they call it.
from .02 to .04.
Yes, and that could be caused by a cough syrup.
Yeah,
But you still have to send them home because, but it doesn't, at that point, it's not an offense.
right.
It's, you know what I mean, because they're on a prescription, but they should know that too. You know what I mean, they should know that if they're on, you know, but they could come to work, basically, if one of the guys is off work, or is working, and say you're on a cough medicine, guys, and you need to tell Steve or Ed, say, hey, I'm on this cough medicine, I technically can't drive because I'm over the limit. You know what I mean? So, does that make sense? You just tell them, and you
Just
can
use
actually,
common
you can actually
sense.
work as a laborer still, you don't have to take the time off.
No.
Well, it sounds pretty standard across, anybody
It
that's got a
is
job has to do
standard.
this.
It's
Yeah,
standard,
yeah,
yeah.
it's standard, it's required, I mean, there's just,
But
it's just something
the
we
next-
haven't been doing.
Right. But I'll be honest, the next time next time this comes around, I would go again, because it was so much to absorb in
Yeah.
one day. I mean, we
There's
just,
no discretion here. You do
No,
this.
Anybody else have any other questions? Did that answer your question? I don't know.
And I do have a question, and for people who, because there are some CDL drivers who take a medication every day, but they're still,
That's not alcohol and drugs, and it's totally,
it doesn't affect.
no, it does not affect
no.
you, because it'll be
All
listed.
all they have to do is get the doctor to okay it, and it's good.
Okay.
You know, if it's a
Yeah.
headache medicine, or
They have
a
a prescription.
earache,
Yeah.
or, yeah, you know what I mean?
But you can't be taking Vicodin and driving on CDL.
Right.
That's-
No,
Well,
but,
that's not what I
but they
meant.
could
I
take,
meant
they could take,
A medicine that they
Yes.
routinely take
Take.
every single
yeah,
day.
blood
Yeah.
pressure, sugar, headache medicines, stuff like that. It's all you have to have is a signature from the doctor, and you're
Medical marijuana.
Talked it to death. We got a
No,
motion and a second.
that's the other thing. He told us that, okay, say Pennsylvania legalized marijuana as a.
Yeah, we have to do it. Right.
Okay, say it was legalized in
There's no
Pennsylvania.
discretion.
Federal law, this is all federal law. This has nothing to do with the state. The federal law supersedes. So if you got a script for medical marijuana and you're a CDL driver and you get tested, you're gone. You lose it.
Just because you have a script for medical marijuana or Vicodin or painkiller does not mean you can drive.
Right.
in the state of
Drive.
Pennsylvania.
Okay, how do you vote?
Kathy? Yes. Mike?
Yes.
I vote yes, Doug?
Yes.
Ed?
Sure.
Mike, you have a second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it? I'll let Tammy talk this time.
Oh, this is for the drive time limits. So we do have drive time limits that they're allowed to drive. There is a daily drive time, no more than 11 hours, before they need to have a consecutive 10 hours off.
Exempt on snow days.
And, you know, wait a minute, and then, yeah, I was gonna get to that part. And then we have a weekly on-duty time of no more than 60 hours in 7 days. They said that, they suggest we make an Excel spreadsheet so that we make sure that the guys don't go over in the 7 days. That's why they suggest the time clock, so that we make sure that the guys don't fall out of.
Is this under weight an hour?
Some of this is, yeah, some of it, but this is the federal, CDL,
Under CDL, is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Can-
but
But
what's
being,
exempt,
Can't we just have them keep a logbook like every other truck
they're,
driver?
they're not required to keep a log, but we're
I
required.
know they're not
I know.
required to,
Yeah, I mean,
But basic, no, Ed, all they need to do is write on their time sheets.
but here's,
But here's the kicker, go ahead. I'm sorry.
they're exempt. They're exempt from roadway maintenance. So when they're doing roadway maintenance, those hours are exempt. But they're not exempt from on-duty time. They're exempt from drive time. And then the snow plowing, so they can plow.
Sounds a little complicated.
It is complicated.
Yeah,
But what they have, but we are exempt, we just need to, we need to keep in mind their hours for
Eric, how many
them.
of those are right?
Yes, yeah.
Zero?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you
The
go.
only thing that they suggest, though, there is an ordinance, that I would like the solicitor to look at, and this is that we would, is it an ordinance or is it I'm sorry, it's a resolution, that we adopt according to the guidelines for in an emergency, they can go over it doesn't matter, like, if it's an emergency, they have to drive, then
it's a sample resolution.
it's a sample one that
We're just,
we
we
don't
don't
have-
really want to make a motion for that,
Yeah, hand it over.
that
I'll
one.
get you a copy of that.
Okay.
So,
But the other thing about the 60 hours, Doug, it's not just truck time. It's, if you're behind a shovel, if you're in a skid loader, if you're in
Right.
every hour counts as truck time, because they're hours worked.
and I didn't know that our mechanic has to have a
And our
CDL
mechanic,
license. If we had just a mechanic, they have to have a CDL. license.
but where you send the truck to get service, it has to be, they have to have a CDL mechanic.
It's just an, I mean, like I
It was
said,
very interesting.
Okay,
that's all,
that was just information then?
That was just,
That
yeah,
was
we'll have it
it.
for the next meeting.
Okay,
because there's forms to keep in the.
any other additions to the agenda?
I forgot to speak on a couple of things. One, I wanted to ask about the closed road signs and sawhorses and whatnot. Did we ever make any headway on that?
We put money aside for it, but we haven't actually assigned somebody to do it. I will put that on my, find somebody to make, I was hoping like I could get a Boy Scout to do it as a project, but
The other thing is,
no.
Chief Hildebrand Claysville called me last week. Pennsylvania American is planning on extending some water lines out of the borough of Claysville into the township. So they had called him about hydrant placement and hydrant types. He in turn called me and I told him to forward that to you guys and that I would get it through that.
Okay.
Do
Because
you know where they're going?
he can't, no, I don't know. Claysville Borough really can't approve it because you're gonna be paying for the hydrants. So, so when you do receive that, that's why you'd be receiving it. We just wanna make sure that they're the proper hydrants and the proper distances.
I was at a meeting before I was on the board in the past where you guys made it standard practice that every so many feet there would be a hydrant anytime.
No
they
more than
should-
1,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you recall that? So,
I recall discussing it several times. I don't know that it was ever.
Probably several times.
yeah. So, I don't,
So then the other question is, I don't know, and I guess I could find out from Pennsylvania American, that the hydrants in and around Claysville Borough that are in the township, what threads they have on it, because Claysville runs a Pittsburgh 6 thread and a 3-inch, and we run a national standard, so.
That was my next question, who's,
Yeah, so I'd have to talk to them and see what the other ones in and around Claysville Borough are currently, and make these ones the same as those, whatever they might be.
okay.
The steamer should still be the 4.5 inch or 4-inch national hose standard, but, the years on it would may be different.
okay.
So you
We're
should be
just
receiving.
waiting- we're waiting on the
Yeah,
information.
you should be getting some from Pennsylvania American.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything so far.
All right. You said you had a couple.
That was it, those are the two things.
All right, any other additions to the agenda? I have two. First of all, there was quite a discussion last month meeting, about the officers' meals. And after thinking about it for a month, I'm gonna propose that we contract with someone and have the meals catered to the township building. That way, they will not be at the truck stop or Cheddar's picking up their food.
Take
Yeah.
a motion.
I'll make a motion, I don't care.
Question.
Meals, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Cater to town.
Wait for a second, but I
Contract
don't need to talk.
for, are you saying for police, is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? Okay.
Because there was, see, in January, there was a big kerfluffle about them being down at the truck stop. Okay? Then last month, they can't be at the truck stop. Now they can't run down to Cheddar's and get takeout. So I don't know what they're supposed to do.
Pack a lunch.
Question.
Isn't there a place in Baltimore they could eat?
Let's wait for a second before we talk anymore.
Okay, so there's a motion to contract meals catered to township for police on duty? Is that what you're
Yes.
telling me? Okay, and that's from Ed. I'll second the motion for discussion.
All right, you got a motion and a second.
Okay.
Bring it on.
All right, I wasn't here for that discussion. I think I got here late, so I didn't hear it. What is the problem with, okay, I can see maybe not going to Cheddar's, not going out of state, across state line, but you got Liberty Street, you got Main Street, you got Truck Stop, you got the BP, you got Mintiers, there's all kind of places within the township.
They're only allowed to go to the Highlands if they pick something up and bring it back.
Okay, but what I'm saying, if they have to eat, I mean, what is the problem with them going to a establishment in Donegal Township and eating? Don't they get,
In
A
January,
break
there
like
was a
everybody else?
problem with them being at the Hopewell Diner.
who had a problem with them being at the Hopewell Diner? It's in Donegal Township.
We had several
Still
members,
on
we had
duty.
one board member concerned, and we had several public people at the top.
Maybe we could send out a survey to see,
Say again?
maybe if the people complain and want to pay to send out a survey to see if our officers are allowed to eat township.
Pack a lunch.
My thing about it would be if you had meals catered here,
Yeah.
you know, the police officers aren't necessarily here
Yeah,
at lunch.
you don't know what time.
So
they're
then
gonna
if
be
you're having a
break.
meal catered, the township's spending money, or are you gonna charge the officers, and then what happens to the food?
And I don't think there was anybody who complained about them being at the truck stop. It was being at the truck stop for extended periods of time. That was the complaint. If you have no problem with that, then that's fine. And I do have a problem with that. And when you're on the payroll, and I don't care whether you're a police officer or you're a road crew guy, or you work in the office, if you don't have a lunch, you bring a lunch. It's been standard practice forever. It's not a big deal.
Anybody else?
How's the township gonna afford that when last month you were broke? How are you gonna take on that expense?
I don't know, but I'm just trying to solve problems.
Pack a lunch. Pack a lunch. I do it every day.
And as Doug said, I never heard anybody complain about them being at any of the local restaurants. It's when they're there for hours.
Well, there were several
That-
complaints.
Okay.
Yes, but to be fair, I heard it from other people, about other people that work for the township too.
Okay.
Why don't we cater for the road crew too then?
Yeah, how do you distinguish?
Yeah, how do you
How do you
distinguish?
get that?
I
That's
believe,
discrimination.
You can't do that. Sorry, you got to pack a lunch. Sorry.
Okay. How do you vote?
Kelly,
I'm assuming that Mr. Shingle was being facetious and saying no.
You could,
Same here.
I say no.
No.
Doug?
No.
Oh, I get to vote yes. Okay, the other thing is, I also am going to make a motion that we take $100,000 out of the Act 13 money, distributed among the 1,720 parcels evenly, the people that pay taxes in this.
Wasn't there a formula?
Wait a minute.
I don't have all the logistics worked out yet because I haven't talked to the guy. We're playing phone tag.
Okay, wait. Say that again, how many distributed what to?
1,720 parcels in the township, tax-paying parcels.
Do they have to be residents in the township, living, I would say living in
That's just the parcels right now. We can refine it, but, and if we do that, I would strongly suggest, that figures out to about $58 a parcel, that we encourage the residents to donate to the fire department.
Wait a minute, to what? Take the, wait a minute, I missed something.
I think we all missed something.
Distributed to 1,720, or was it 17,000?
1,720.
Okay.
1,720
Within
parcels.
the township, it's roughly $58.
We're gonna pay
Would you give it back?
this.
Yes,
Okay.
in the form of, tax relief.
And the tax relief go to every parcel owner, regardless of whether or not they paid their taxes.
I think when West Finley did it, it was based on if you paid it, and they did it through, they did it when the tax is actually going out. You know what I mean, when we were.
Right, which is coming up. They have to pay, you have to pay by August 30th, September 30th, or December 31st,
That's school tax.
or something like that.
That's cool, I already paid.
But that's all the same,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
That's school taxes.
Well, first off, you don't have a second yet, I don't think. Do you have a second?
No.
Okay, well,
I know what you're saying, but I think we need to refine it and go out with the property tax in the spring. I think that's how it's done, to be honest with you.
Are you second the motion so that we can?
I'll second the motion so we can discuss
We
it.
can later.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna talk up here first.
No, I mean, who,
no, you,
seconds?
Yeah, I second,
Mike,
I
okay.
second it,
Got it,
talk
okay.
about it.
So,
I think West Finley did it, if I'm not mistaken. And West Finley did it with the spring, when the first tax was out, the township tax. And I think they did it, you won, your taxes had to be paid up. It was a criteria. And there was a formula based on what you paid. It wasn't an even across the board. There was an algorithm that was plugged in, and it just popped up when they did the taxes. And it said on their discount, Tax Relief Act 13.
Okay.
So, and that's how I'm understanding.
That's all the logistics. I just made the motion to do it.
You're saying to start it now for
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
for next year?
yeah.
Okay.
have you ever done this? I mean,
Not yet, Center's gonna do it.
Center Township's doing
In
it?
Green County, they're gonna do it.
Okay.
We talked about it at the last meeting too.
So it's workable then?
I haven't started it yet.
I mean, it's
They're at the same stage that you
How
are.
much Act 13 money did Center, is it Center or Cumberland?
Center,
What did they get last
I
year?
think they got 1.3 million.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah, but they gave total relief, they gave total tax relief.
Correct.
We're only offering up a set
amount,
flat, and then figure it into the formula. That's how West Finley did. Correct?
I don't know what West Finley did.
Yeah, that's what they did.
They said a flat.
Eric?
I gotta tell you that the amounts that this township has donated to the fire departments that cover Donald Township pale in comparison to the cost of providing fire protection, which is your responsibility. We currently do a fund drive every year. It involves 2 mailings to all the residents of Donald Township and outside of Donald Township. Some addresses there. We have historically about 29% of the residents respond to that and give us a donation. 29%. So, in effect, you know, what you would be doing is pushing off what I believe is some of your responsibility to provide fire protection back to the residents, of which 29% of them are gonna respond.
Nothing was said about that,
And to
Eric.
get-
This is just saying.
Well, no, he's saying
I
encourage them
understand,
to.
But encourage them to do it.
So are we doing that, I mean,
To increase.
you're making this motion when
to avoid,
we couldn't
I'm not.
see your way to make a donation to the fire department last month because of problems.
I'm saying leave it up to the people, yeah.
But then the township still has a responsibility.
Don't interrupt, Kathy's next.
My question would be this, so you're going to give tax relief to the people, and I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna go, whoa, I'm getting tax relief, I'm not gonna have to pay this $58.
That's not where it's gonna work out.
Wait, well, whatever it is, whatever it's gonna be, okay? And so next year, my tax bill is gonna come, and there's gonna be no money there that's gonna give me a gift, and I'm gonna go, what the hey? They gave me money, and now they're raising my taxes.
Nobody's raising anything.
That is, but
She's
I'm
saying
just
that's
telling
what
you,
people think.
that's what
You can state it in there, it's a one-year
their
tax.
perception will be that you're raising their taxes. And in addition, you're gonna give away $100,000 of Act 13 money, which means that tax money that you would have gotten on top of the Act 13 money, you're not getting.
Well, I think what happens, if I'm not, I'm just, I don't know. When we give it, do we take it out of Act 13 and almost just put it
Just put it in our fund.
in our general fund? Because it's,
It goes right back to the township.
It's out of
How do you
one pocket
figure?
into the other.
Huh?
How do you figure it comes back to
Because
the
it-
township?
because it's.
We take it out of the Act 13 money, we put it in the general fund.
Because it's.
We
tax-
actually considered
we pay their
it, we
tax
actually
for 'em?
considered it in February, or when we first came in, to doing it right off the bat, when we were in such financial, because we could pass it and then move the money right into the general fund.
But you're still missing the $58 that the people would pay. You are, because you're
No, you're
paying.
not.
Yes, you are.
Are you telling the tax
Yes,
the
you
tax
are.
assessment office to drop everybody's taxes by the amount you say you're giving them back?
We're not changing our
That's not gonna
assessment.
We're not changing the assessment.
Well,
It's a
you-
calculated, that's, you know what, I'm
tax
almost,
rebate.
okay, I'm gonna say something right now. When that friggin' program was passed, when Act 13 was put in, it was put in for the people. It was put in for tax relief.
Tax
It wasn't put in for all these petty programs. The mayor